Hi, writing a beautiful chord progression will always be the core of a great wave or ambient track. Here are a couple of ideas and atmospheric chord progressions that you can build your track around of. The tempo of the song will be pretty low, somewhere between 80 to 100 BPM. So this is the chord progression that I will use in this track. This is a C major 7th chord, G6 chord, A minor 7th chord, and F major 7th chord. So if you want to make your own major 7th chord, you have to put one note above 4 semitones, then 7 semitones, and 11 semitones above the root note. Here is a G6 chord, which is in its core a major chord. It's also 4 steps above and then 7 semitones above. And then the last note is 9 semitones above the root note. This is A minor 7th chord. So this is the regular A minor chord, 3 semitones above, 7 semitones above, and the last one is 10 semitones above the root note. And the F major chord, another note, 11 semitones above the root note. This is a chord progression altogether. To make these chords sit in the mix really smoothly, you have to add obviously additional reverb, and I also added Valhalla Shimmer. So this is a regular reverb that I use all the time with mix up to 100%. And then I have another reverb, which is Valhalla Shimmer. It has a granular reverb, really smeared out sound, and it fits in the ambient mix perfectly. So with this processing, the whole chord sounds like this. Next, I added some bass notes that will just widen the sound a little bit. And then above our chords, we add our melody. Next, we're gonna make our melody lighter, and we have to just turn down the velocity of our melody notes down, so the melody will be more in the background of the mix rather than just punching through the chords of the song. And the last thing that we're gonna do with our chord progression is to change their positioning in the grid, so the chords will sound more human. And here are a couple of dreamy chord progressions that you can also use in your ambient or wave track. So we took our first chord progression that we built and separated different parts of it into different MIDI clips. The first one is just our basic chords without any melody and bass notes. The post-processing on them still the same. I just added some delay, which is a great free plugin that you can use also with different presets to design and make your chords stand out. And I also added cabinet. I added automation to the dry wet node, so this warm filling will fade in and fade out throughout our chord progression. Then we have our pad, which is basically just the root notes of our chord progression. This is a generate synth pad with additional reverb and some EQ just to cut all the high frequencies. Then we have our melody that I already showed you, with additional reverb in the end, without any post-processing. Then we have our drone, just the root note of the first chord I played all the way through and added some additional post-processing with reverb, with some granular effects, with emergence, which is also a great free plugin, some additional phasing and utility to widen the sound a bit. And I just rendered this drone effect into this audio clip and kinda made a loop out of it. And it almost sounds like some kind of a violin in the background. So the plugs that I use are just the part of the main melody in this track. And the post-processing, this is just a wavetable with additional shimmer mode on, short attack and decay, additional LFO on the first oscillator, some reverb, echo. I also automated the panning of these plugs, so they fade in and fade out from left ear to right ear. It gives more interest to the song. And then we have our bass notes that I moved from our original chord progression, and as you can see I also just cut them up a little bit, and I used Lab's bass guitar warm bass. It's a really nice and smooth bass that sits in the mix really well. I just removed all the unnecessary frequencies in the mid-range and the high end. And some additional post-processing on the entire arrangement that we have. This is a great equalizer that you can use, it's completely free. And as you can see, I heavily accented the high end of the sound, like high, mid, and high, so the melody and plugs in the song will be brighter and higher in the mix than everything else. Just slight glue compression, -5 dB, and as usual, a limiter. So this is the whole arrangement. Thank you for watching the video, and bye.